Sam Savage here with breaking news. On March 28th, 1979, at approximately 4:00 a.m. Eastern Seaboard Time, the 3 Mile Island nuclear reactor complex suffered a partial meltdown. Only 16 hours later was the reactor being cooled and finally flooded, and its temperature brought under control. But by this time, half the core had already melted, and part of it had disintegrated. A pilot-operated relief valve system failed to tell the operators at the compound about the release of nuclear reactor fluid. This fluid creates a safe environment for nuclear reactions to take place without the excess heating of the core. However, without this fluid, the reactor will overheat, and this is exactly what happened. Due to confusion and problems with a pilot-operated relief valve system and confusion between coworkers, mass amounts of radioactive coolant fluid were released. Without this fluid, the reactors could not cool themselves, and thus a partial meltdown had occurred. On March 28th, 6:56 a.m., the plant supervisor declares an official emergency. During the course of the accident, 2.5 million curies of radioactive noble gases were released. Furthermore, radioactive material was dumped into the Susquehanna River, where in the preceding months, infant mortality increased tenfold. Luckily, no human lives were lost in this accident. Ultimately, the accident has shown the American public, along with the world, that we need to have a better understanding of how energy is created and maintained and cooled. The training has gone way beyond pushing buttons. It goes into depth concerning teamwork, communication, and emphasizing effective transitions into different stages of procedures. Cleanup of the TMI-2 reactor took nearly 12 years and nearly $1 billion. They used high-efficiency particle air filters and charcoal filters to try to remove some of these toxic noble gases. Almost 100 tons of radioactive material had to be removed from TMI-2 in the span of 12 years. This was a difficult task for workers and staffers at the plant. Studies found that radioactive material released during the accident was minimal, and thus did not pose a serious threat to surrounding organisms. In the afternoon of March 28th, the investigators of the TMI-2 reactor realized that hydrogen gas had been burned in the process. Investigators removed this hydrogen bubble by continuously opening a valve within the system that would release the hydrogen. And at one point there was fear that there would be a hydrogen gas fire or explosion. However, this was found later to be not possible with the lack of oxygen that the TMI-2 core had.